please say your name.
My name is Borjan Hadzihalilovic, and I am graphic designer from Sarajevo.
All right. And what is your nationality?
I'm Bosnian. I'm typical Bosnian. I'm not, I don't know, Serbian, Croat or Bosniak. I'm not Muslim or Catholic or something like that. I'm typical mixture, and I'm proud of that. I'm like the others. But I'm proud to be Bosnian because I was born here.
All right. And where do you live?
I live in the very center of Sarajevo all my life, actually, in the 100 meters from Presidency, which is also very close to here. So I'm typical born Sarajevian and stayed during the war also here, but probably I will stay all my life. That's my Sarajevo is like a destiny, and I'm addicted to Sarajevo. That's my problem.
What's different about Sarajevo than other places?
No, I think maybe it's only for me. Maybe a lot of people who are born in some city or place have some kind of special relationship with that. So I think, I resume probably with Sarajevo is the same, but we are maybe, if we are watching from outside, then Sarajevo is, we have like too much history in small places, we have too much nationality on small places. We have, how can I say, it's big diversity between all of us. But till the war, first we was Sarajevian, and the people was very proud and normal to say that you are from Sarajevo, and that you are belonging just to Sarajevo, not to Bosnia and Herzegovina, not to Yugoslavia, not to Europe. You was proud to be Sarajevian. I think also how Sarajevo is surrounded by the mountain. So sometimes you have a feeling that whole world is like here. It's pathetic, it's stupid, but it's sometimes it's nice to be connected with some place like that.
And what is your highest level of education?
I'm like a professor here. I graduated here, then post-graduated. So I'm now how can I say? If you are a designer, I can't be like a doctor of design, but so I'm the best that you can. According that academic way of doing the things.
And you were part of the design group trio that was working here during the war.
Yes. And before the war, we worked in former Yugoslavia. We was kids, like 20 something, and we were working all around Belgrade, Zagreb, Ljubljana. We was very, how can I say, productive at that time, working for rock and roll groups, covers, for magazine, for theater, for movies. He was rather, how can I say, almost like a popular designer at that time, because he was young and crazy, probably, and brave enough to take anything what is in front of us. So it was me, my wife, and our friend Leila, and we was together like trio till the beginning of the war. Then she left Sarajevo, went to Switzerland, Leila. Dada and I get married, and then we form agency Fabrika, which is like, let's say, advertising agency, full service agency. Digital agency, how today you got to tell, and so on. So it's a bunch of creative people and media strategists and professionals. So we are, it's like 20 of us, and we are like doing really for the communication whatever you can pitch us, and you will see we are very good in everything what we get, like some kind of brief or something like that.
Well, how did you start out as an artist? How did you begin? And when did you know that you wanted to be an artist, and how did you begin?
I think it's a small difference between designer and artist, because artist is working when he had some kind of guts to do that. And you can make last night 5 pictures if you want. With design, it's a difference. Design process starts when somebody orders from you something. Yeah. So if Bono from U2 group tell, I want you to make us design for our new cover, then the process starts. Yeah. If I, like a designer from Sarajevo, made a beautiful cover for U2, but Bono don't care about that, then I can do how much I want. Nobody actually isn't interested in that. So it's a little bit different process. Artists, from my point of view, had all freedom of the world and all the responsibility for his artwork. Designer is the guy, the artist who is working for somebody. Like, I think the first designer, let's say, was, so that ordinary people can understand what is that, it's like Leonardo da Vinci. He was like Medici pay him to make Last Supper. And then he decided to make a big picture on the wall of Last Supper. But they paid to him, and they asked him, please stop to do anything what are you doing. We know that you are a genius. We know that you have hundreds of different ideas. But we want to pay you to draw to us, for us, let's say, that picture, or any kind of Madonna, whatever it was, or maybe Michelangelo when he was makes these unbelievable David or Sixteen Chapels. They paid him, and they want him to do something. Yeah. That is what designer is. Artist is actually guy who had the freedom to express what he have a feeling inside. And of course, you know, Andy Warhol, almost 50 years ago, he made that mixture between designer and the art, because he was actually designer and fantastic illustrator and communicologue, how can I say that? But then, in few years, his artwork, his designs actually went to the gallery. So the gallery want that designer with his artworks and multiply art, because he made a multiplication of Marilyn Monroe or Mao Zedong, doesn't matter. He was very lazy artist actually, and I think that he used silk screen because he didn't have time to draw enough to draw, and then he made this multiplication, playing the game with the colors and with everything, and that was the moment when designer became the artist, let's say. And today also I admire most like people like, I don't know, Banksy. Yeah. For me, he's the artist. But he's also like a, I don't know, designer, you know, because he's putting his artwork on the street. he using street like a gallery. He's not interesting for the gallery. Even if he's in the gallery, he's making joke of everything. And I adore his energy and everything. So I think the modern designer artist is like, a lot of them are street artists, of course, but the Banksy for me is on the top of that. But also the GR or something, it's a lot of wonderful artists today.
Well, how did you personally begin, you know, as a young, did you decide to be an artist as from what age?
My father was the designer. And all my life I was watching him doing design. But I didn't design, I didn't draw too much. And then 1 year before the academy, I decided actually that I want to try the same. And then I started to draw, to think about like design, but like a crazy. I was totally obsessed with that. And I like it. You got to like it. You got to feel it, have a feeling that you want to be, that you don't want to go to work from 8 to 5 o'clock, that you don't want to be a lawyer, that you don't want to be some kind of businessman or something like that. You want to be designer. That is something completely different. It's wonderful to be designer because we are working with a bunch of different people. Sometimes they are people from theater, sometimes from movies, sometimes they are rock stars, sometimes they are wonderful writers, sometimes they are big businessmen, sometimes it's a new wonderful brand or something like that. And they always want to have designer. Designer got to be around these people. Either you are working the covers or the new symbol or the new strategy, how to make a communication and everything. And I think that we are really lucky guys that we can be part of all these. Designer is like a universal soldier, but I think that even all the people in the industry of, let's say, marketing or communication or advertising, whatever you call it today, got to have that kind of way of thinking, like a designer used to have. You got to have wonderful and very powerful general culture. You got to watch a lot of movies, a lot of concerts, a lot of music, a lot of books, a lot of news. You got to have everything in your head. You got to have a feeling of the moment which you live.
Yes. The culture.
The culture, or maybe the destruction of the culture, because you know I was designer also in the middle of the war here, so it was like, you know, the longest siege of the city is in the new war history was in Sarajevo, and again, like a designer, you can help your city to fight for himself, to make a communication about your city, what is going on outside, to, you know, when the war started here, because everything was changed, because we become independent and so on. So we got to work everything for the first time, like a first logo for the police, first uniform for the sports, you know, everything was like the first time. Yeah. And I was happy because they always need designers, the guys like us, to be with these serious guys. That doesn't matter, are they politics or policemen or culture guys or whatever. So that was nice feeling to fight from day to day by being designer into the war and that people need you, your fellowship of citizens or whatever, and that you can really helping something in this horrible situation.
So can you talk more about that? Because I think that what you were doing during the war and creating these images was very important, but important in what way? What were you trying to do in creating these images at that time?
First, we have the feeling that we want to make something. If you are a poet, let's say, then you are writing a song about what is happening with you in your town. Because we are the designers, or let's say the artists, we must also have some kind of guts to make something, to explain people outside of Sarajevo on our way what the hell is going on here. Because we live in hell, we thought nobody cares about that. So then you have a feeling to do it. And when we start to play the game with the famous brands and Sarajevo, like the biggest brand at that time, because Sarajevo was beginning of the 90s, it was probably the biggest new brand in the world, because everybody heard about Sarajevo. Yeah. Every time in news, and it's become a brand. But the brand on sufferness, killing people, bad guys, doing something to good guys, and so on. So we thought, okay, maybe we got to change it a little bit, to play a game with that. But also with the known brand like Coca-Cola, like Hollywood, like Absolut Vodka, like Mona Lisa, like Uncle Sam, whatever it was, some kind of pop art icons from these 90s, let's say. So we play the game with that, and we put it upside down, or we make a joke of that. But actually, our idea was to tell some stories from the war. And okay, again, because we are designers, we make the poster, or we shrink it to the postcards, because we want that somebody, if Susan Sontag was here, then we put like 5 of these sets and tell, hey, oh Susan, give your friends, give to anybody which you think, and then she went to United States and bring the postcards and giving to their friends, or sometimes to journalists, I don't know. And we did it with the UN soldiers, with our friends who left Sarajevo. So it was like typical propaganda. That was fucking propaganda, nothing else more of that. But it was propaganda of the guys who are not bad, of the city who is great, of the, it was under the siege. It's like a typical, how can I say, movie situation where you have bad guys and good guys. So I think Sarajevo was really symbol of something, how to fight against bad guys.
Well, I think it was a brilliant idea and effort, and it's the kind of thing that I think there's more and more people doing the socially engaged kind of art, where they are explaining some situation that's going on in a new way, so that people can understand it in a different way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What are you working on now?
I don't know, on bunch of commercial stuff which we got to do, on a lot of also important projects which are connected with some fantastic photographer, war photographer. You know, mostly I'm working on like 8 to 10 projects simultaneously, because I'm not anymore the guy who is doing the design. I'm actually organizing everything. My position is creative director, which I don't like, because I don't have a feeling that I'm director, manager or something like that. I'm good in connection the ideas and people, and the best professional to make that. Doesn't matter if it's illustration or photography or even the guy who worked fantastically with typography. I take him and introduce him our project and tell him, come, let's do it together, something like that. I'm very happy when I'm bringing a lot of different artists on one table, on one story, and we are working together on the project.
All right.
That's how the world is going on now, let's say. And also you got to be very fast and very productive. In my time, you know, sometimes I went to the same school. We work like one poster for ecology, I don't know, against the pollution or whatever. When we did it like, I don't know, maybe like 2 months. We was working, drawing the poster, the sketches, blah, blah, blah. It was important how you are thinking and what are you working. Today, it's got to be finished in 1 week. It's got to be finished in 1 week because next week we have another task to do, we get another things to make. So when I'm working with the students today, they have to be much more productive, much more faster. They got to have what is the top of your mind when somebody tell, can you make a poster for my new Hamlet in the, you got to, same second you got to start think, actually what will be the poster. It's become your nightmare, and in first 24 hours, you got to find solution.
Okay.
Because that is your guts, that is something from inside of you. And you got to make it. Then, if you have more time to think, then you can make 100 different versions. But mostly, the best version from you is what's happened in your first 24 or 48 hours. That's I think what creative people got to listen to themselves, let's say, to listen to your soul or your mind or anger, whatever is actually your, what you got to make, what you got to produce.
Very good. So to conclude, what would you say to my students how to come up with an idea?
It depends if something, you know, if I'm working, let's say, for the theater festival mess here, which is every year, and you got to make some kind of poster which is explaining the time where we are living now. What is happening around, what is going on in the world, or what is going on in your city or something like that. And then sometimes I did wonderful and very powerful poster because I was angry. I was very much angry on some topics. And then you have feeling that you are fight for something. So you made the poster which is actually criticize something, and then you are fighting something against that. And then you have a feeling that your poster is not only poster, that it's not just some kind of, I don't know, nice drawing or illustration or something like that, but that you put a poster in the street where people are watching the poster and speak about that. And they tell, you see what these guys done again. You see, because we are speaking about that topic. So if you are, you know, if you're working, I had a lot of theater play when it was like anti-fascism, dedicated to Jewish during the war or even later on to the what's happened to Bosnian or what's happened to some other people or group which was attacked by the fascists or by the bad guys. And then sometimes I use the fascistic symbols to make anti-fascistic message. Maybe it's impossible, but that is a challenge for me. Because I think if you are making a poster against fascism, that you got to actually to be as much as brutal as they are, but sometimes even more brutal than they are. And then you have, how can I say, then you have some kind of reaction of the people. Also, if somebody gives you something, you can always tell what you think about some kind of topic. Always you got to try not to see what was somebody doing for Hamlet in these last 100 years. You have a book with that. You have a book with Stephen Heller and Mirko Ilić made a book about 1,000 posters only for Shakespeare. So you have a book, last 100 years, hundreds and hundreds of designers who made a poster for Hamlet. And so what will be your poster for Hamlet in 2020? Then you ask yourself, okay, I'm not going back when Shakespeare made this, what was Hamlet for him. No, I'm trying to speak with director, what is his angle, and then I have possibility also to tell my angle about what is the destiny of Hamlet in 2020. You know, who is his father? What is his destiny? For what he is fighting for? Is he nationalist, or is he patriot, or is he don't care about anything? So you got to really, you can put yourself in position of Hamlet, let's say. And then if you start to be angry on what is the frustration for the Hamlet today, then you have some total different angle of how you will make a poster. Of course, you can cut a silhouette from, you can take a two paper, cut the silhouette of actor who is acting the Hamlet, and put white on white with some shadow, and you can be very, very simple with that. So you can be, I think that it's always interesting to make, when you are a designer and make some kind of art, that it's never like a boring. It's never nice, like, your poster is nice. I'm not interested in that. I always want to somehow to provoke you to tell me to think about something or to be angry even on my poster, but actually you are angry on what I want to provoke you somehow. So I think that the designer got to be very brave, and they can, you know, change some situation. When I was a kid and my father was designer, I remember like what is designer doing? It's like designer make the world beautiful. How the fuck I said, it's nice to be designer, that if you are making the world better or more beautiful, then it's nice, it sounds nice. Why not to be a designer? Yeah. But I think it was changed completely, but the basic idea stayed the same. We are making people with more open eyes, we are make people to think about our art, let's say, or our message from our poster. So I still thinking that we are making the world better place. What I'm teaching my student is not to work for the pedophile and not to work for political parties and don't work with the war crime people. So very simple rules. Never work for these 3 topics. Never be part of that. So I hope that they will do it in their life, that they will listen to me. Because that was my experience. That's all.
All right.
Okay.
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.